Hey everyone, Simbiote here, and welcome to my review of the new Sims 3 store set called Tutor of Tudors. There may be an S, it might be just Tutor of Tudor, but it's probably Tutor of Tudors. So yeah, basically this set is attempting to evoke the Tudor era. Tudor, not Tudor like a car, but I think it succeeds. It comes in at $12 US on sale, and I believe it's on sale. I think I wrote this down. Hang on a second. I believe it's on sale until, yes, it's on sale until May 2nd. So at that point, it's going to go up to, I think, $14.50 or $14.75, which would be 1,475 sim points. Right now, it's 1,200. It comes with 25 items, a lot of create a sim items, but the thing is that it only comes with 2 build objects, and it comes with, like roughly a handful of buy objects. Excuse me. But in order to really set it up to be, to successfully create that look of the Tudor era, it does take a bit of work. I built this house. I got it into my head that I had to build an entire house. I don't know why. I was just going to do a quick thing, but I got it into my head that I had to build an entire house. The only thing which I would argue is like really super inaccurate is that I used a fireplace that looks good on the inside, but the 2 fireplaces I have, they have brick, they have brick chimneys, and they didn't have brick. So, just ignore that. But basically what you have out here is like the external Tudor aesthetic was half timber. And so like this is basically going to be a little guide if you want to actually make this set work. But basically, you have the half timber outside, you have small windows with like square panes, and yeah, basically that's it. You can see pictures of like Tudor style houses. It's actually really easy to sort of recreate. But let's actually get into the set itself. These windows here, helps if I, come on, go back down. Alright, these windows here are, they come with the set. They're originally gray. I recolored them to fit with the outside of the house. And also, as a build object, you get this, this column right here. The gold part is not recolorable, but the actual column and the part behind the gold, the inlay, it was red. I made it green. A few other things. Let's see. Helps if I tip it down. This right here comes with the set. It's actually all 3 of these things. You have the queen's chair, the tufted armchair, which is like supposed to be a throne, and then you have this it's basically just a drapery. So you have that, and then over here you have these sconces, and they're pretty. They're reflective. They look pretty good in general. They are recolorable as far as I can tell. You can see out of the it's all, yeah, for some reason the way I have it, you can see out of the top of the roof, but there is a ceiling there. And you have all the clothes and all that. I'll show you those. But you have these chairs, and they do have some etching in the back. And you have this table, which is the feasting table. I didn't recolor it. And the table also has some carvings, some etchings, things, just to give it a little bit of extra flair. It's actually quite good. Then you have this sofa. Sofas, they wouldn't have had, it's called a church pew type. I have to sneeze, sorry. Okay, we're good. It's called like a pew style bench, but they would not have actually had upholstered sofas. That's not something they would have actually had. But it is nice, and I can see a number of applications for it, although it is really specific. You get these chandeliers. They're big, or chandeliers, I'm sorry, candelabras. They're very big, and I like them a lot. And then you also get this mounted helm, which I think looks pretty cool. And what else? What else do you get? Oh, you get a love seat. Oop. This love seat in here, you get that, and it fits pretty nicely. I like it. It's in the red. Actually, the pew bench was in red first as well. I just recolored it to fit the room. And what else? I think, oh yeah, the coffee table. You get this coffee table right here. I'm actually going to put walls cut away. You get this coffee table right here, which also has the wood carvings. And let me take a peek through the house, make sure. And then you do get, yes, you get, is there one back here? Can't remember where I put everything. You get this. Comes in a few different colors, you know, a few different options. There's one with like a fleur-de-lis. This one has the stars. They're obviously, it's like a coat of arms. I believe I have, no, they're both blocked by the candelabra. Hang on a second, let me show you properly. Yep, so you get that, and you know, I think they actually look a little too new, but if that's something you're going for, it'll work. I'm pretty sure that's it for the build by objects. Yes, it is. This set did not come with any wall fixtures. Everything I've used is appropriate to the period, but or like wall panels, but they are in fact base game. I had to recolor everything myself, and you know, like I said before, this set is very, very specific. It's actually it is in the design aesthetic of the Tudor family, and that's like roughly between Henry VII and Queen Elizabeth I, and it's a mixture of medieval and some more ornate elements and some newer, like, you know, Renaissance looking elements, because during that period there were advancements in crafting and just basically, you know, trade and things like that, that actually made it more possible for people to get their hands on these things and to have, you know, better carvings and have things be less simplistic like they were during the medieval era. The thing being that they still sort of clung to that medieval aesthetic and sensibility. So that's why everything has the ornate carvings, but is still kind of stout and really just sturdy. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind if you're going to be creating a Tudor house, essentially. And then, you know, Tudor rose. The rose was actually the symbol of their house. This doesn't actually look like a Tudor rose, but I thought, you know, in the spirit of things, put the rose. Everything else I have put together using like the Rococo set, base game, other custom content, other store content, this like tapestry and things like that. Excuse me, that was from another set. I really actually wanted to create something that would give you a sense of the overall aesthetic, so that if you wanted to use this set to its fullest capabilities, that you could. Because that's the most important thing. It's difficult to know what to do with some of these things, and the set doesn't come with very much. It doesn't come with additional, obviously, build objects. It makes it difficult for you to flesh out this vision you have. And that's the primary problem with a lot of the Sims 3 store sets. And I mean, it's possible, but this house, even with its simplistic design, decorating this house took me a very long time. It took me hours because everything had to be recolored and everything had to be sifted through, and I had to find elements that were appropriate. And it's not good if that's what you have to do. Like if you have to piece everything together just to complete the look. So the issue being that at $12, this set could have been more. Like, you know, my friend Betsy's Five Avengers, she did a review as well, and she's correct. You know, it could have been more, and with Dragon Valley coming out, I think that some of these items could be invaluable to completing that vision as well. But at the end of the day, do you want to pay $12 up front or later on, almost $15, just to have, wow, the Queen is making a weird face right there, just to have a set which you're going to really have to work hard to make work in the overall aesthetic. That being said, everything that they did provide, aside from the sofa, and the love seat, because like I said, they didn't have that type of upholstered, seating. They had chairs that were upholstered, but not that type of seating. But everything aside from that, the clothes are incredibly accurate to the period, and in general, the buy objects are accurate. Although, like I said, I feel as though the coat of arms looks a little too new. Yeah, basically that's just about it for build buy. If you're attempting to create this overall aesthetic, you want tapestries on the walls. Fireplaces tend to be the focal points of rooms, although I didn't put that many fireplaces in the house because Sims are dumb and they will burn the place down, and I worked too damn hard on this place for them to be burning it down. Deep, rich colors, 4-poster beds, like I said, tapestries, draperies, warm carpets. They liked fleur-de-lis, they liked heraldic patterns, they liked like I said, more, think of medieval and then just make it more ornate and you'll be fine, essentially. A couple of these rooms aren't fully decorated. But like the candelabras, they used pewter, they used wrought iron, so that's something to keep in mind. Really, it was just a matter, like I said, the most difficult part was sifting through everything to find what I wanted. After that, recoloring it, I knew what I was going for, but it was still a pain. And, creating this house was a lot more work than one of my, other houses I would make, just because they didn't provide you enough to complete the dream, really. They just didn't. So, like I said, that's something to keep in mind. Now, let's take a look at, let's bring up the king first. Let's take a look at the cast items. Now, I actually pre-dressed everybody. I thought about this in advance, and actually I have, because there are a couple extra dresses, and I have a second outfit. Oh my god, hopefully it works out, because I feel like I did so much better organizing things this time. Alright, so this is our king, I believe. Let's see. Yes, I'm pretty sure. And basically, men's clothing during this era were meant to evoke a square or rectangular shape. Men wanted to have like a broad sort of look. And what's interesting is that this era was dominated by sumptuary laws and statutes of dress, which were basically, they were rules for what people could wear based upon their rank and title and class. So, like this type of dark blue, a poor Tudor couldn't wear it. They had to stick with beige, like the poor people, they had to stick with beige, brown, russet orange, like green, and then a lighter blue that was dyed with woad instead of indigo, like this one would be. And they had to wear wool and sheepskin, whereas, or linen, whereas the wealthier or noble or even royal, I was going to say Sims, people, they were allowed to wear velvets, furs, silks, things like that. So obviously that's reflected in the overall quality of the garments. One thing that's interesting though, and you're seeing it right here, is it became the style in the lower class to slash the fabric. So the lining of, like, basically you would layer your clothes, and for the poorer people, trimmings were allowed. So if you had like velvet trimmings from making, you could buy them from seamstresses and things like that when they would make clothes for the royal family and things like that. You could buy the trimmings, and those trimmings were allowed to be layered underneath clothes. So what they would do is they would slash the outer layers of their clothing and then puff out the part underneath, thereby creating a richer look and showing off some, colors and things like that without actually breaking the law. And what's funny is that this fashion was later reflected in royal clothing, so it sort of, in a reverse sense, moved back up the chain. And, it ended up being sort of interesting. And it was designed to basically make it, obviously the better dyes were expensive, but it was also designed to make it so that just by looking at someone you could tell their rank. You could tell their position in society. So obviously that has its own, its own subtext and undertone. And that was the era, and unfortunately, poor people just wanted to look nicer, and it was against the law to do so. So, they did what they could, but it created a very interesting fashion movement, which is kind of cool. Okay, so let's bring up our next victim. The queen is making that great face. Okay, master controller, stylist. Now, I believe that the set only came with 3 clothes for men and then an outfit for boys. There's an outfit for girls, and then there are 5 dresses for women, so everybody's pre-dressed. So for her clothing, I just want to make sure she doesn't have a second outfit. No, she does not. This is her only outfit. This is the queen's dress, and this is actually recolored from the ones available in game. Let me give it a second. All my custom content and store crap has to load. Yeah, so the ones that came preloaded were the red, the black and gray, I had the hiccups, excuse me, and the bright fuchsia. This isn't actually a color that they would have used, but, it's in the spirit of things. They're in the mix. I approve. So yeah, I went with a jewel purple and green. I love purple and green together, and I love brown and blue and red and purple. Like, I have these presets of colors that I love. And then, like, what she has here is a bell sleeve. And, women actually had detachable sleeves that they could layer over their other sleeves, and it was meant to create that layered look as well. Now, obviously, she doesn't have to slash her fabric, but she does have, like, the lower layers of her clothing showing through, and, like I said, that is meant to give additional texture and also reflect that style that was in the lower levels of society. So, there you go. The jewelry is attached. Usually I'm not a huge fan of the attached jewelry. I think it looks okay. It's not great. I would prefer that it not be there, and it makes it difficult to wear, like, put on like a custom necklace or something. And she's got, like, I put on a ring and everything. Excuse me. The primary issues I have with the clothing in this set are that they did not provide any hair, and once again, they did not provide any shoes. You almost never get shoes in the store sets, and it's kind of disappointing because it basically leaves it up to you to manage that and have what you need. And I'll actually, when we look at the knight, I'll explain what I had to do to get his boots right, and it was a pain in the butt. What I have here is a store hairstyle that already had a coronet. Now, women's hairstyles were meant to be severe, and actually she wouldn't have a part there, but they were meant to be severe and pulled back from the face. And, excuse me, women wore coifs. They wore, oh god, I can't remember, there's a French hat that sort of had, like, it almost looked like a W with, like, a kink in either side. And then they had the French caps, which sort of angled back and usually had, like, pearls or jewels on the end. It's actually quite recognizable. Excuse me. There are also, like, neck ruffs and things like that later, much later in like once you're moving into Elizabethan era. And yeah, basically that was, women wore their hair back or under coifs in order to wear hats. They didn't often wear it down. So, you know, that's something to keep in mind if you're attempting to recreate this look as well. And yeah, that's basically it for her. And like I said, it's pretty frustrating that you're not provided with everything you need to complete the look. Everything here is pieced together from other store sets and things like that. And it seems like it would have been easy enough just to include, oh, I thought that was gonna go. There we go. Come on. It seems like it would have been easy enough just to include hairstyles and shoes that would work, although the dresses are long. So I suppose that the shoes don't matter for women, but for men they do. The boots that the king was wearing were from the Rococo set, which is funny because in the Rococo set, they don't actually fit with the clothes. Okay, come on. Are we doing this? Are we doing it? There we go. My game has just been lagging like crazy, and I'm not sure why. Oh well. Okay, so actually, while we're talking about it, let's take a look at the knight. And he's actually wearing a couple different outfits. Sorry, my throat is killing me. There he is. And this is obviously, this is the grouping that I used for the wedding review. Sydney. Sorry. Okay, so basically this, you get the knight, yeah, the knight jerkin with belts, Sydney, excuse me, with the belt, knee plating, and then your shin plating. And obviously he's wearing a male coat underneath and male trousers. I actually think that this looks pretty cool, and there's a plain version too if you don't want the family crests on there. I just think this guy looks good in purple, so I went with the purple one because I didn't want to recolor. So yeah, I mean, this is a genuinely nice knight outfit, and I think that the male looks really, really good. Issue being that they did not provide proper shoes. So I ended up sort of being able to make this look like chainmail. But that's because I took the, if you got the, if you got the seasons special, like limited edition with the costume pack, I think that was the Origin exclusive, but maybe not. Yeah, I think it might have been Origin exclusive. But if you got that with the costume pack, these are the shoes that came with the shark costume. And they sort of remind me of Greaves. So I just went with it, and then I recolored them and changed the pattern to metal. So I think it looks okay, but that was a pain. Like, that's not necessary. They should have provided some sort of greaves, even if they were like a shoe that actually had the shin mail or the shin guards attached to the shoe. I don't know. It just seems like it would have been easy enough to do. I don't know. I'm not a game programmer. Maybe it's more difficult than it seems, but I wish that had been provided, is all I can really say. And we're gonna load up his second outfit that came with the set. This obviously is a cook's garb, and he's got a little apron. It looks a little clean for what he's doing, and these are base game shoes, I believe. I didn't recolor it, and I gave him this hairstyle that had the scarf over it because that seemed appropriate, and it's in the russet orange, again, beiges and then obviously browns. Now he's a member of like royal kitchen staff, so I suppose, I mean, it's more like a manor. I guess the king is probably just visiting, but he probably wouldn't be wearing leather, so that's not completely accurate. This would probably be made of like sheepskin, and this does not. This looks like, yeah, this looks like a different type of leather, but I don't know, maybe I'm wrong. But it's not, yeah, I would say it's not completely accurate. It would probably even be like linen or wool. So you know, but whatever, that's fine. And otherwise, I think it looks really, really good. And the shoes, you know, I was able to find a pair of shoes that worked, so okay. And we're gonna try to close this out. There we go. There we go. Just a few more. Actually, like, let's take a look at the Noble. Master controller, stylist. Okay. Alright, so this, I believe, is the Archdukes. But I don't remember the names. I actually should have included them, but if you watch like Betsy's 5 Avengers video, you'll see. Oh, I just realized that the pants are clipping through. See, this irks me because there are no proper shoes. So if they weren't clipping through, then it would look okay with the boots. But I guess we'll just say it's the slash thing, but it looks insane. I didn't recolor the outfit. Obviously, he has the vestment, but it's not like a religious vestment. But yes, he has the scarf draping over. He has a nice tooled belt, which I think is really cool. Tooled leather as a detail in this is really, really special, and I like that. These are puffed sleeves. He does not have any slashing, but I think the look ends up being, you know, pretty rich. I don't like that there's such a shiny specular layer on this red. That's the outer shiny part. I'm not a big fan, but it probably would look awful without the specular layer. So, you know, fair enough. I mean, the people at the Sims 3 store, they obviously know what they're doing, but I just wish they would provide more and fix the clipping issues with men's shoes. And then I think, is he wearing a second outfit? No, he is not. Okay. So, yeah, that's basically all I have to say about that. I love that tooled leather detail. I think that the accessories in this set actually look really, really good. Let's see if this does what it's supposed to. Thank you. Obviously, these people look a little bit out of place in the stylist's studio, but I don't know. Maybe they're LARPing. Who knows? Okay, so we've got a couple people left. I'm just going to click on her. Master controller. Ready. There we go. Now, I believe this is the Duchesses dress. I'm not even going to attempt to get it right because I will probably mess it up. These sleeves are puffed, and then she has, it's hard to see, but she has detachable sleeves at the bottom. So this is what would be a fluted look, essentially. I don't know if there are any trumpeted sleeves in this, but there's another type that's called trumpeted, and those typically had the most slashes. Now this would have probably actually been woven as opposed to slashed. It's probably silk woven through a linen layer, and because you would need it to be a little bit sturdier. And obviously, you know, this is an example of something that would be corseted. She has to wear a corset. Now, corsets were nasty mofos back then. Women frequently had difficulty breathing, but even beyond that, women would frequently, you know, remains of women from this era frequently have broken ribs. And it was expected, like, you know, if you were a certain level in society, it was expected that you wear a corset on occasion. They were beastly. They were really, really nasty. Another thing is that her skirt sort of bows out a little bit. Her hands clip inside, which is a little weird, but I don't know, maybe she's feeling the fabric or something. But basically, the skirts, in order to make them bow out like that, they wore what was called a Spanish farthingale, which was made of verdugo. It's a type of reed that's very, very rigid, and essentially it was like a petticoat or a hoop skirt. So, you know, they'd have multiple layers. So aside from the corset, which would be very hot and uncomfortable, they would have They'd have a chemise, and then they had their small clothes and things like that. Yeah. So a lot of layers, plus the corset. It was physically demanding. This is a hairstyle, again, that's a store style, and I think it came with like a wedding dress, but I thought, yeah, you know, it works here. Because women did typically have some sort of ornament to their hair, be it a cap or a hat or something, a coronet usually. I mean, it's a little out of its time, but I just thought it needed something. And I think she's wearing a second outfit. Yes, she is. Because like I said, there are 5 dresses for women. I was so afraid I hit the trash thing, and I was going to be so bummed. Because I'd have to look at it again. Come on. Okay, so this is the common maiden dress, and you know, it's for probably like a merchant class woman, or you know, upper lower class. The issue being that it's not historically accurate in terms of the colors used. Obviously, being merchant class, this would be like a sheepskin leather. Maybe she could have gotten away with kid skin, which would be goat, but you know, obviously you don't want to break the law. And you have the lacing. This is all a very nice touch. Just the way it lays and things like that, it looks great. But the issue being, obviously, she would not have this dark blue. Like I said before, she would not have the dark blue, and she would not have the dark red. Those colors were reserved for royalty. So I mean, I guess you could argue that this would be like a riding outfit for a noble or something, but even then, no, not likely. So that's a little bit inaccurate, but I do like it. And that's, you know, I'm actually being nitpicky about it, but the set is like really attempting to stay historically accurate, and I think it succeeds in many, many ways. Before we finish, I'll actually give you the colors that royals were allowed to wear. Let me think about it. Royals and nobles wore gold, silver, dark purple, scarlet, dark red, like deep amber golds, jade green, things like that. And like I said before, the poor people had to stick to like your browns, your tans, things like that. Master controller, stylist. Okay. Whoops, my phone went off. I apologize. This is also recolored. And actually, yes, this would be a trumpeted sleeve. Obviously, again, she has a separate sleeve at the base. And then this is a very nice detail in the front. I feel like that gives it a good architecture. And then the fabric underneath would be puffed out. Now, in the case of her instance, it probably isn't that big of a deal. Like, she wouldn't necessarily have it be a richer color because it's obviously going to be like a fine silk fabric. So she wouldn't need to, you know, show off in other ways. She's the lady in waiting. She's definitely of noble birth. Again, I just went with a more severe hairstyle, but they would not have had the bangs, but my options were pretty limited. And again, she would be wearing a corset and a farthingale, and this is an undershirt. So basically, that's that. I mean, there's not much more to say. I added this pattern underneath, and, you know, I'm going with the green and purple thing again, but the options for colors, I think, are rather true to the period. And then we have one more dress for her. Alright. Come on. So much store and custom content. So much. It's loading. There we go. There we are. Okay, so this would basically be like a kitchen wench, essentially. Yeah, it's a kitchen maiden's dress. You know, it's got the high-waisted apron. I like the little rag detail. She would have had this neck scarf to keep her from sweating in the kitchens. I feel like the details on this with the princess seams and the square neckline and the chemise underneath, I think it looks good. But obviously this is something that you would really only use for this set. It's not something that you would just like throw onto a sim for fun or like a costume or something. And then I gave her a hairstyle that had a scarf on it. And again, that's a Sims 3 store thing. And basically that's it for the ladies and the gents. And then we just have our little girl and our little boy. Oh, hiccups. So many hiccups. I should not drink before I record. That look on her face is great. Okay, so this is our little guy. And obviously he's sitting over here because he is a servant. Okay. So yeah, he's wearing just these plain shoes because that's really what he would be wearing. I mean, they're not truly accurate, but I had to pick and choose from the game. And he's got the purple. I think the family's colors are probably purple and green. I'm just gonna go with that. And he's got the little castle detail with the Tudor rose. There's a Tudor rose right there. The lacing and all of that. I think it looks pretty good. Again, I think the specular layers on these clothes are a little much. They're just too shiny. They're too shiny. They look like they've been lacquered. And he's just a squire. He's probably with the knight. He came to help out, and so he's sitting over in his spot and minding his own business and attending to his master. And then we're going to bring up the little girl. Alright. Come on. She's got her eyes closed. Okay. And this is the final outfit. This is the dress for female children. And I don't think I oh, I did. I recolored this to be purple just to give it a little more depth. And then this hairstyle actually is store content as well. Now, it's not truly accurate because it would tie underneath her chin as opposed to under the back. But I wanted to keep accurate to the period, so young girls did actually wear coifs to cover their head most often. And it does look like a silk, so she has a silk coif. And, you know, I think the overall effect is actually quite rich. She has the medallion. I would almost call this, it's probably, like if it were real, it would be like leather with some pearls or gems, essentially. And she has a bell sleeve as well with some puff sleeves underneath attached to her chemise. And I really genuinely like this, and I almost feel like, you know, your female children could use this for like a costume for Spooky Day and things like that. So I think that worked really, really well. And that is that. So the overall verdict, like I've kind of expressed my feelings about this throughout, and it's generally a consensus that they do not, let me make sure I got everybody, yes, they do not provide you with everything you need in order to completely flesh out the overall theme. That being said, it's not impossible, but this house did. Like I said, even with its simple design, this house took me upwards of 7 hours to complete, and I'm not even fully done because it doesn't have a bathroom yet, and it needs one more bedroom. And probably I'm gonna reconvert one of these rooms into a seating area. So, you know, it took some time. I had to recolor. Like, I had to actually take this half timber wall paneling, and I had to make this like paint underneath, like plaster, and then wood, and blah 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 blah. It was a lot of work, and I think the final outcome is is pretty good, accurate to the period. It is possible, I guess is what I'm saying. But the question being that for $12, do you want to have to do that much work to actually make it accurate? Or do you think you can use these pieces as something to mix in with perhaps when Dragon Valley comes out, or even I can see applications for some of these chairs in a more modern setting if you wanted to create an interesting juxtaposition. You know, it's really ultimately, as always, it's ultimately up to you. This thing is very, the set is theme heavy, and it does take dedication to make it work as a whole if you're gonna go for like a whole house and stuff like that. I like it because I'm excited about Dragon Valley. That's the only application I can see for it right now, unless you're actually going for a medieval slash Tudor slash Renaissance thing. So my excuse me, my recommendation is, if you're not going to get Dragon Valley, if you're not interested in ever trying to recreate a medieval or Tudor Renaissance look, absolutely give it a pass. It's $12, you know, for 25 items, but all I can say is that I do like it. So yeah, take that as you will, essentially. So thank you very much for watching. If you have any questions, please direct them to the comments. I should have yeah, I'll have yeah, I'm so spacey. Basically, yeah, just go ahead and if you have any questions in the comments, and thank you for watching. Have a great day.